This week in Kengan Omega, we had the arrival of Spider-Man and the return of Batman and Robin. Very nice stuff. But on a real note, I'm glad Himuro is most likely going to survive now, as he's a character who was done quite dirty in Kengan Ashura, but in Omega he's probably being one of the most badass and coolest characters, and we get to see more of this throughout this chapter. And you should also remember, officially from what we know, Himuro is still undefeated when it comes to Kengan matches, meaning he's pretty much a Kuroki tier fighter. But above everything in Kengan Omega chapter 154, we had the return of Pig, something I've been waiting for pretty much all of Omega. We got the mention of him in the Falcon and Rito fight, but he's finally here, ready to provide absolute greatness. And that also means we'll most likely see Hassad soon, another character who was done quite dirty in Ashura. Perhaps he'll get some redemption at some point. But the focus of this week's chapter is on the fight between Himuro and Zia G, with us seeing more of Zia G's hidden power or hidden potential that comes out in dire situations, with Sandovich cucking us yet again, having Himuro say, "You're not telling me he's ... So I wonder what that's referring to. But before I continue, make sure to subscribe if you're a fan of Kengan content, that's what I provide here. Now let's get into Kengan Omega chapter 154. The amount of hidden weapons we see Zia G drop throughout this chapter is pretty insane. It starts out with Himuro beating on Zia G. We see him drop his first knife, of course resulting in Zia G to pull out some of his rack tactics, with him being shocked of how strong Himuro actually is. He mentions that he wants to make a deal with the Kengan Association and that he'll give intel about the worm. Of course, this was all bait, another knife was coming out of his sleeve. Man really just be spawning knives at this point, but of course Himuro just kicks it away with ease, mentioning that they've had surveillance on Zia G for the past 2 years, thinking he wasn't really a threat at this point as the worm had abandoned him, until he had contact with Ogi and Tenjin, the two direct subordinates of the head Yan, who were able to pretty much shake the surveillance off of his trail, and of course that's where the meeting between Zia G, the Connector, and Yan happened, where the Kengan Association wasn't able to see that. I'm still questioning whether the two direct subordinates will be involved shortly. I think they are still following Zia G and they may end up fighting some of the Kengan Association members, considering what happens at the end of this chapter. But we have Himuro questioning Zia G about what happened when they lost surveillance of him. Of course, yet again Zia G spawning another knife to attack Himuro, with Inaba coming and saving Himuro in this situation. Inaba returning again. He appeared a few chapters ago in the whole alliance thing. I guess it's cool to have him back, but I'm not too much of a fan of him, so it doesn't really bother me whatsoever. Himuro picks up Zia G's knife while Inaba is holding him down and choking him. Himuro is about to stab him, and then of course we have the pretty much awakening of Zia G. He's able to break out of Inaba's hair and punch Himuro away. This pretty much means Zia G, when it comes to raw strength, is equal at the very least to round 1 Oma in the Kengan Ashura Annihilation Tournament, as he was also able to break Inaba's hair, which I guess is pretty cool but not that impressive, as round 1 Oma in Ashura isn't all that relevant in the broader perspective. He gets much stronger as the tournament goes on and he gets his memories back and everything like that. But raw strength wise, I guess it's decently impressive, but also means Inaba is still kinda fodder in the story if Zia G is able to shit on him. But we have Himuro going in, I guess, killer intent mode. And then we have Zia G pretty much turning into Spider-Man, able to climb up this big wall instantly with his pretty much hands piercing into the concrete as he climbs up. My dude be turning into a wild animal here. And yeah, Zia G is on some good shit, I guess. Truly has the ultimate ability of escaping any situation. Man was able to escape from Joji and Koichi without them really noticing, and now we see him doing some wild shit yet again. But of course, the one to keep track of him is our boy Medicine Man, looking not as dirty as he was in Ashura, which is a shame, but he's here, a one-panel appearance, telling them that the target's on the north, talking to Nikado Ren and his team. And I know a lot of people are going to mention this, I've talked about this in previous videos. One of the members of the Heavenly Wolves is also by the name of Yan, different character to the head of the worm. Apparently the kanji in the way it's spelled in Japanese is different to the way the head of the worm's yarn is spelled, but when translated to English, they both say yarn, but different people. Just wanted to mention that once again. Himuro notices the cracks in the wall, and then says this line I mentioned earlier: "How could it be so skinny and so strong? You're not telling me he's ... So what is he referring to when he says that? Perhaps has the advanced or some Nicker style techniques. Maybe he was trained by the Tiger Nicker at some point, as Ziji, part of Worm, a very important character when it comes to Worm, as the brother of Yarn the Head, and I guess respected by the Connector, the potential strongest person in all of Worm. Maybe he's done some crazy other training. Himura, as you know, is from the inside, so maybe he's aware of some other ability we don't know about, but I think it's possible he could be using some Nicker style techniques or something else. Let me know your thoughts on that down below. I'm not 100% sure what Himura could be referring to. Hopefully that gets touched upon in the next chapter. But the final panel, we also have the arrival of Batman and Robin, Akoya in his Justice suit, and Garuki. We don't see Kiryu, so maybe we won't see any Kiryu. I hope we do, because I'm honestly more excited to see more from Kiryu than Akoya and Garuki. And considering the fact that Akoya's here, maybe it's his time to go, but they're not working alongside the Kengan Association. They're doing their own thing, but they're also on the hunt for Ziji. So yeah, Ziji pretty much has a small army chasing after him at this point, and that's where I think the two direct subordinates will appear at some point and end up fighting some people. Maybe they'll fight Akoya and Garuki, or maybe they'll fight Nikata Ren or any of these other characters, because Inaba and Himuro are also still chasing after Ziji. Sadly, I don't think Medicine Man will fight, because if he did, he would pretty much neg Ziji with absolute ease, and then that would be the end of the potential dragon. But my official predictions is that Akoya and Garuki will run into the two direct subordinates. During that fight, Akoya will end up being killed, with Garuki being the one to finish the other two. Or potentially we have them taking out the two direct subordinates, then we have the arrival of some other worms, maybe the Connector or something like that, to like neg Akoya, and then everything goes from there. But I think Akoya is going to die very shortly. Ziji, I think, is going to survive. It's possible he'll be captured, but definitely going to survive and probably escape at some point regardless, because man is overpowered when it comes to that. But that's pretty much everything for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like. If you haven't already, check out the other stuff in the description, like the Discord, Twitter, Patreon, Instagram, stuff like that. And of course, shout out to these mad lads who support the channel via the Patreon. But yep, that's guys. Peace.